Husbands, we have a bad habit that we need to stop. We need to stop apologizing, which won't be very difficult since most husbands have a very hard time even saying the words. You can do it. Soury? Did I do it? You know, I'm going to give you credit for that one. I could really see the effort. Man, why is it so hard to say the words, I'm sorry that I did something that caused you to feel hurt or rejected or taken for granted? Why is it seemingly impossible for us to say, I was wrong? Well, it actually was harder than I thought it would be. So why in the world would I be telling you not to apologize? I mean, I would imagine for women, any apology is better than no apology at all, right? And that's true in the short term, but not in the long run. While it seems like a good thing to apologize, and it is, timing makes a huge difference. See, especially as men, we have this bad habit of either not apologizing at all, which, make no mistake, is terrible for your relationship, but other times when she says, I'm hurt, or especially when she says, I'm angry, even if we're trying to make things right, we just quickly blurt out, I'm sorry. And then that's it. We act like we don't know what other words to say. That's just the end of it. That's all we could think of. And sure, it's better than nothing, but it's not actually helpful because you don't actually know what you're apologizing for. You don't even know why you're sorry. And even if you don't realize it, most of us are just apologizing quickly in the hopes that the conversation will end because conflict makes us so uncomfortable, doesn't it? But we need to stop that. That's not helping our marriages because the sad truth is you will hurt or neglect your spouse. That's just going to happen. Now, I hope it happens unintentionally, but it will happen eventually. We are self-centered, prideful beings, me being first on that list. And even if we're not trying to be, you will still make mistakes. You will say something hurtful. You'll forget to do something that you know is important to her. You will unintentionally dismiss her. That's going to happen in any marriage. But unintentionally hurting or even momentarily neglecting your spouse doesn't make you a bad husband. What makes you a bad husband is if she has the courage and vulnerability to tell you that something you did hurt her in a calm, non-critical, non-blaming way. And you roll your eyes. You avoid talking about it. You fight and dismiss her or immediately get angry or defensive or make excuses as to why she's just being too sensitive or emotional and her feelings aren't your problem. That's what makes you a bad husband. And I've been guilty of all of them at some point. And I'm just warning you, that cycle of conflict only weakens your relationship. That destructive dance that so many of us get caught in only kills your marriage. If your goal is to destroy your marriage, this is the fastest way, by telling her, your pain isn't my problem. And that thing that you're complaining about, it's not actually a big deal. You're just too sensitive. Do you know what that communicates to her? It tells her, I'm not a safe place for you to talk about your hurt. Don't look to me when you're hurt because I'm not going to listen or comfort you. In fact, I'm going to make you feel stupid for even bringing it up. And worse, that thing that hurt you, since it's not a big deal to me, don't expect me to stop doing it. One of the most invalidating things you can do is mock your spouse and tell them that they're overreacting or too sensitive. I mean, too sensitive to whose standard? Let me guess, your standard, right? Because you don't want to admit it, but the way that you do things and the way that you react is the right way. And she needs to start doing it that way, doesn't she? Now, we would never say it like that, but that's what our words and actions are communicating to her. And do you know what happens in those marriages? They die just a little bit more in those moments. That may be why your first marriage died or why your current marriage is headed in that direction. And when she leaves, the man is usually shocked. It seems to come out of left field for the husband, doesn't it? But the red flags were waving the whole time. The fact that you're blind to them will not stop their destructive impact. The way you handle conflict in your marriage matters. Stop thinking you can do it however you want to and things turn out fine. They don't. The best thing you can do for your marriage is learn how to handle conflict the right way. Because conflict isn't bad. We make it bad through the way that we handle it. Conflict isn't bad. The result of poorly handled conflict is bad, like disconnection and distance. That's bad. But that doesn't have to occur. We just invite it with our ignorance and selfishness and hurtful words. Conflict is actually an opportunity to learn something about your spouse. Conflict is an opportunity to grow closer to them, not move farther away from them. To move in their direction, to remind them how much they mean to you, to listen, to understand, to repair a hurt. even if it was unintentional. In fact, men, conflict can actually lead to more sex. I'm up. Hey, welcome back. I was just trying to tell you that conflict can absolutely lead to more frequent and better sex with your spouse if we see it as a chance to repair and reconnect and re-engage. And listen, sex should absolutely not be your primary goal in your relationship. Intimacy and friendship and selflessness and thoughtfulness and mutual respect should be your goals. And here's the problem. When I value sex more than her, when I show her with my words and actions that I care about sex more than I care about her and who she is as a person, when I avoid having tough conversations about how she feels, good or bad, when I avoid fully knowing her or being known by her, I'm always moving away from intimacy with her, and sex will always be less likely in that scenario. And this is what all men need to know. You were never taught this, and it destroys millions of marriages. If you avoid conflict or purposely avoid talking about her feelings or hurts or things that bother her in the relationship in an effort to help the relationship, you only hurt it. Let me say it a different way. Not talking about her feelings or pain or conflicts in an effort to save or protect your closeness together does the opposite. It kills it. Every guy seems to want more sex and less fighting until I tell him exactly the roads he needs to walk to get there. Every guy wants passion and playfulness from his wife, but only a few know what environments and climates lead to those destinations, like kindness and consideration and love languages and emotional connection and apologizing. Stop telling me you want something different in your marriage if you aren't willing to put in the effort or try something new to get there. And even if sex was your only goal, which it shouldn't be, but even if it was, you would only be making it less likely by avoiding closeness and vulnerability and empathy and validation. Those are the roads that lead there. Most of you won't even look up what they are after I've told you how important they are. And for so many of us, it's easy to practice thoughtfulness during the good times, but our relationships tend to live or die in how we handle and repair our conflicts together. We only get the full benefit of those things when we get conflict and repairing and apologizing right. So what's the right way to handle conflict? By becoming aware of all the things that you do that sabotage it, and then doing the opposite. Stop immediately launching into counterattacks. If she comes at you upset or heated, keep your mouth closed and try to actually listen to what she's upset about. This tip alone can prevent you from killing your marriage like I did. If you forget everything, just focus on this one thing. Practice how you're going to handle conflict before it starts. Ask yourself, okay, when I see her snapping and unfairly blaming me for something, what am I going to do? Escalate an attack. No, that's the opposite of what I was saying. Sorry. Dismiss her and tell her it's not my problem. What? No, have you been listening this whole time? Hold on, I can do this. I'm gonna listen to understand her perspective first and get curious instead of confrontational. Yes, but I'm still very concerned. I'm going to ask her what she's feeling. Okay, good. I'm not going to correct her facts or argue or make excuses or get defensive. Good. I'm not going to try to end the conversation too quickly, and instead I'm going to engage with my eyes and body language to show her that I care. Very good. And I'm going to ask her clarifying questions, like, what led you to feel that way? Or are there any other hurts that you want to talk about? Well, now you're just showing off. I'm going to try to hear the hurt underneath the anger. I'm going to listen for any unmet need or desire hidden in the frustration. That was great. I mean, you're not going to be able to pull any of that off, but this is a great first step. And most importantly, why do we do all that? So she'll get back in bed with us. No. I'm sorry, hold on. I know this. What in the world? Because her perspective is important to us. Her feelings and needs and desires are important to me, right? Right. That's how she knows she is important to us. That's how she knows we value her. That's how love and respect and kindness are actually demonstrated. It doesn't matter if you believe them. What matters is how you express them. That's why the Bible says the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. So prove that you love her in the way you handle conflicts. For most of you, you can't outserve or out-selfless your wife. And you're not even aware of how amazing your marriage could be if you tried. You're not even aware of how incredible your marriage could be if you prioritized affection and helping her with the chores and listening and apologizing in the way that makes her feel valued and heard. So while I have you, let's quickly go over other apologies that aren't actually apologies. Flippantly saying, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, isn't an apology. Saying, well, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have had to do that if you would have just done this. Nope, also not an apology. Also not helpful is, fine, I'm sorry, or I said I was sorry, quit bringing it up. Those aren't apologies.
I didn't know that.
Because apologies take responsibility. They don't make excuses or blame someone else. The best apologies result in a change in behavior, and the most powerful and impactful apologies happen after you've accomplished these goals. A, have I invited and encouraged their feelings into a safe place with me? B, have I explored their perspective and validated their experience as legitimate? We do that by getting to the point where you understand them and what happened to them, even if you don't agree with them. C, are you able to summarize their feelings and perspectives to their satisfaction? Then you can say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I can completely understand how when I poked fun at you at the party and that made you feel alone or rejected or disrespected, that makes sense to me. It wasn't my intention to hurt you, but I recognize that I did, and I will pay more attention to my words in the future. Thank you for telling me how you feel. Does that sound stupid to you? Because that will absolutely sound stupid to someone who is proud or arrogant, or someone who is selfish or ignorant. Do you know who that doesn't sound stupid to? Your wife, that person you pledged to love and cherish for the rest of your life. And when they are hurt, or when they are angry, which is often just another form of hurt, you have an opportunity during conflict to repair and strengthen and deepen the trust and friendship and intimacy and love in your most important relationship, and most men never take advantage of it. And that's because they never realized that giving her a voice doesn't make her want to complain more. Being intentional about listening to her and understanding her doesn't make her want to argue with you more. You'd be amazed at how the conflicts lessen and the complaints get less frequent over time when she actually feels heard and understood and validated and prioritized in the ways that you communicate with her. Is that worth trying something new? Men, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. If you want to connect with your wife, who is a woman, this is what's happening for her during conflicts. And if you're too arrogant or prideful to even ask her if this is true, then your marriage might have been doomed before I do. But Sue Johnson says this: we have to dive below to discover the basic problem. These couples have disconnected emotionally. They don't feel emotionally safe with each other. What couples and therapists too often do not see is that most fights are really protests over emotional disconnection. Underneath all the distress, partners are asking each other, can I count on you, depend on you? Are you there for me? Will you respond to me when I need, when I call? Do I matter to you? Am I valued and accepted by you? Do you need me? Rely on me. The anger, the criticism, the demands are really cries to their lovers, calls to stir their hearts, to draw their mates back in emotionally and reestablish a sense of safe connection. When marriages fail, it is not increasing conflict that is the cause. It is decreasing affection and emotional responsiveness. You want a different marriage? You want the marriage you both deserve? You want the marriage God has for you? Change the way you handle conflicts and the way that you apologize. I guarantee you'll be glad you did. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. So I may have missed it when you told us how to get her to have more sex with you. Can you circle back to that specific area? No? Okay. No problem.